Why your breakup hurts more than it should. The attachment explanation. Section. Introduction. Breakups hurt in a way that feels deeper than ordinary sadness. Many people describe it as a heaviness in the chest, a hollow feeling that follows them everywhere, or a loop of thoughts they can't escape. What makes breakup pain so intense isn't just the loss of a relationship. It is the psychological shock that hits your inner world when a meaningful emotional bond breaks. Section. How the brain forms emotional bonds. When you bond with someone, your brain creates patterns built around their presence. Their voice, their texts, their habits, and their routines become associated with safety, comfort, predictability, and emotional reward. Over time, your nervous system learns to stabilize itself around this person. So when they leave suddenly, the brain does not treat it like a normal disappointment. It reacts as if something essential has been taken away. This is why you feel disoriented and overwhelmed. Section. Why inconsistency makes breakups harder. The pain becomes sharper when the relationship involved emotional inconsistency. If the person you loved showed avoidant tendencies, warm one moment and distant the next, your emotional system adapted to unpredictability. The brain becomes sensitive to intermittent reward, where closeness comes in waves and then disappears. After the breakup, the mind reacts like it does to withdrawal. It craves the emotional clarity that is no longer available. This makes the breakup feel far more consuming than it logically should. Section. The grief of losing the future. A breakup is not only the end of a relationship, it is the collapse of the future you imagined with that person. Every plan, every shared dream, and every expectation becomes part of your identity. When the relationship ends, all of those imagined futures vanish instantly. You are not just grieving the person, you are grieving the life you thought you were moving toward. This collapse creates a shock that feels like deep grief, because it is. Section. The emotional and chemical impact. During a relationship, your brain releases chemicals like oxytocin and dopamine. These chemicals create bonding, safety, and emotional reward. When the relationship ends, these chemicals drop sharply. This sudden drop can create restlessness, overthinking, anxiety, lack of appetite, and a sense of emotional emptiness. Many people feel disconnected from themselves, as if the world has lost its color. This is not weakness. It is the nervous system searching for stability again. Section. Why lack of closure intensifies pain. Breakups feel even more painful when they end suddenly, without clear answers or closure. When someone leaves with mixed signals or silence, the mind tries to fill in the missing pieces. You begin replaying memories, analyzing conversations, and searching for explanations. This mental loop is your brain trying to close a story that ended without clarity. The overthinking is not irrational. It is your mind's attempt to complete an unfinished emotional pattern. Section. Why logic and emotion don't match. One of the most confusing parts of a breakup is knowing logically that the relationship is over, while emotionally still feeling attached. Logic and emotion operate on different timelines. The logical mind understands facts, but the emotional mind follows patterns built over months or years. Even if the relationship was painful or inconsistent, the emotional system still seeks the familiar pattern it depended on. Section. Identity and self-worth. After a breakup. During a relationship, you get used to being a certain version of yourself with that person. The way you speak, the way you share, and the way you love. When the relationship ends, it can feel like losing a part of your identity. You may question your worth or your decisions. This self-doubt is not about the other person. It is about the emotional disruption inside you as you adjust to a new internal balance. Section. The beginning of healing. Healing begins when you recognize that your pain is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that the bond meant something to your system. The goal is not to erase memories or pretend the connection never mattered. The goal is to separate the person from the emotional pattern they activated. You were not addicted to them as an individual. You are connected to the psychological loop formed during the relationship. Section: Rebuilding your inner world. As time passes, the brain slowly begins forming new patterns. You create new routines, new sources of comfort, and new ways of seeing yourself. Every day you live through the discomfort, your nervous system learns how to stabilize without the past connection. Recovery is not a sudden moment of clarity. It is a gradual recalibration. Some days will feel strong, and some days will feel heavy. Both are part of the healing process. Section: Closing message. You are not experiencing a failure. You are moving through a reconstruction of your inner world. With time, clarity returns, stability returns, and eventually, the pain loses its power. Breakups are not the end of your emotional life. They are the beginning of a deeper understanding of yourself. More videos are coming that will explore avoidant behavior, attachment styles, push-pull dynamics, and the psychology behind why some relationships feel magnetic, yet unstable. Healing is possible, and you are not alone in this process.